So recently we reviewed the Reaper guns from the retro shooter. It's the Pro kit containing 2 guns, LEDs, everything you're going to be needing for setting this thing up. However, with the newer game boxes they're delivering us, we don't have like all of the retro games that we had before. It's a little bit of a downside and it comes with a lot of limitations. It does have like a lot of potential, but you know, out of the box this thing is a little bit of a disappointment when it comes to that. And I may say that the disappointment is not like the Reapers itself. The Reapers are absolutely amazing technology. I've been playing around with all kinds of old light guns that has also the slider. But you know, when you're getting into, let's say, some really cool light guns, they are like super expensive. And the Reaper Pro, in my opinion, they're actually one of the more affordable ways to play. Kriss Cool Mod has a couple of different images. We're having like the 24 terabyte. What I understand of also has some of these, let's say, images contain light gun games. But we have light gun games like only with a little bit of an, let's say, extra retro touch to it. However, we're having different images, but also different ways to play. So this is an ITX built machine. This is actually built by him, so it's super convenient. Comes with an RTX 3050, and here we're getting something that we need to chit chat about. So for example, having a mini PC. If you want to play Techno Parrot and you want to have a mini PC like this particular one, this comes with an RTX 2060, the mobile edition. So maybe the 2060M, it's still compatible with a lot of Techno Parrot stuff, but it's way more cheaper to actually maybe build like a massive PC and just play it like that, because this is so much more convenient and easy and cheaper to build. So that's one of the things I wanted to chit chat about very quickly, is that if you're going to be getting into something like this, we're going to be needing a powerful CPU GPU combination, and personally prefer Nvidia when it comes to the GPU, but this way we can actually play every single game on the Techno Parrot. So everything has been set up when it comes to the hub, the light guns and the PC itself, in combination with the SSD of the Kriss Cool Mod, giving, let's say, this combination the best overall, so far I understand, experience when it comes to light gun gaming. So the Firebase connection is something we're going to be needing, because this is the one that's giving us the 24 volts that's going to be needed for the recall of the light guns. So there's one thing that we need to take consideration if you're going to be connecting everything. And of course, this is going to be communication that goes into the PC itself, or the PC you're going to be using. And in this way, we can just actually set up the SSD and the image and everything, and the communication for the MAME hooker and everything else. So always make sure, if there is not a 24 volt adapter, that you're going to be having a nice quality one. This is 24 volt and 3 amp. So that's one of the most important things, particularly when you're going to be using 2 of them, and you're going to be using a crazy rapid fire with games like Terminator Salvation with the Techno Parrot. Okay, so the retro shooter is absolutely a blast to the past when it comes to the recall and everything else. However, what we're going to be doing today is combining this with the PC and the Retro Beat light gun kit from Kriss Cool Mod, because with this combination of the SSD and the PC and the Reaper, we're going to be having the ultimate fun with everything you can actually play. You can just play it set up with the Retro Shooter Reaper. But let's take a close look at the menu, what you're getting. You can actually see that I've been setting up the LEDs, all 4 of them, because it's the newer generation of the retro shooter, and this is going to be way more accurate than the one with the 2 sensor on top. Going to be using for navigation into the desktop, just the mouse itself. But when it comes to, let's say, everything, the icons, this isn't such an easy way to set everything up. So having the one-click automate light gun situation, that will just automatically set the retro shooter. So one of the many improvements he implemented in his image. And also one button, if let's say you have any problems, you can reboot the system and you can just set it all up if you have a problem, or you want to switch between, let's say, different light guns. And if you're ready, normally if you're going to be setting everything up, powering on your PC will automatically boot up into the Retro Beast, and the software itself can be actually used through the controls of the light gun itself. But shall we take a close look at the, let's say, the image itself? What can you all do with it? So what is interesting, that this is a combination of actually the Techno Parrot, but also having controller functionalities. So we also can just play light gun game, but also have the option to play a couple of those, let's say, normal, let's say, MAME games. So that's kind of cool. So take consideration, this is a light gun image, so most of the games will be light guns. So let's say we're going to be having the light guns in here. We can actually use the trigger. And here we're having all kinds of different other, let's say, categories. For example, arcade gunners, MAME light gun games, 3DO. So if you want to get in some really old school stuff that you grew up with, it's highly possible it's going to be on here. We're having all kinds of stuff that I personally have no connection with, like the Atari 2600, Atari 7800, and some other cool stuff. Of course, Atomus Wave, Dreamcast, Flash games, you know. This is actually one of those games I've played a lot, you know, with that tower thing in the beginning. That brings back some memories. So Sega Genesis, indie real shooters, even some MS-DOS, Naomi, and the list goes on and on and on. What is interesting, you can see over here having the PlayStation, Gun 4 IR and the Reaper. So what you can just actually see in here, we're having all kinds of games that are like dedicated to light gun gaming, especially for the Reaper. And I think that's one of the things making this combining with the SSD is just the ultimate solution. Because now we actually have every single game of the back old school days that's specially optimized for this particular light gun. And of course old school ones like the Time Crisis, of course, and the Project Titan. It's absolutely nuts. But yeah, the list is so massive. It's absolutely crazy. PlayStation 2 is another system that has some really nice games. Some really nice quality games. Time Crisis 3. We're going to be doing a quick overview of a couple of them, of a couple of games at least. But here you even have, say, PlayStation 3. And this is just only the freaking list of, let's say, the retro Techno Parrot. It's one of the systems I wanted to check out later on. When I was actually messing with the system, I completely messed it up. I mean, particularly when it comes to, let's say, finding the right category. You can see everything made with a controller, meaning that this is actually for the controller games. Yeah, so there is like a mix. And here you can see we're having all of the old school games. So if you're going to be connecting controller with this, you can not only use this image for light guns, you can just playing some old school games. So yeah, that's one of the things I almost messed up, particularly when it comes to the Techno Parrot. It was kind of confusing. So let's go into the Techno Parrot. Here you can see we do also have light gun games in here. We also have games like Virtual Tennis 4, some Street Fighter. If you want to play some old school Tetris, that's even possible too. So you know, there's so much stuff on here that is absolutely nuts. The Wii. So in here we're having the Wii. I must say personally I don't have any, let's say, big connections with the Wii itself. There are some couple of cool games on there. I think it was Ghost Squad, if I'm saying it correctly. Yeah, that's the one. So this is a really fun game to actually play. But yeah, the Techno Parrot list. We're going to be getting into the light gun games over here. So let's take a close look at that. And there are absolutely some really cool hidden gems. For example, having the Transformer game is such a fun experience. Terminator Salvation. I'm a huge Terminator fan. And here we can find even more very strange games. So I think, let's like scroll through it. There was another game that I thought, like, what the heck is going on? Jurassic Park is another one that wasn't very nice quality one. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun to connecting the rapid fire to these, let's say, games, because normally I'm only going to be playing this on the Alien Gun arcade machine I reviewed here on the channel. Yeah, this was the one, Skylander Close Patrol. I didn't even know there was a game out there. So, and a lot of very cool hidden gems. But that's one of the things that we're going to be playing. But let's get into it and let's have some fun. So let's start off with some Virtual Cop. When it comes to, let's say, the old school games, PlayStation 2, Emulation. So we can actually mess around with the recoil if you want to, but let's set it to single shot. So with the MAME hooker, it's going to be actually communicating to see if the game supports feedback. It's going to be communicating to the gun. So some of the games even have like faster rapid fire, as you can see over there. Let's see if this will make any difference. Yeah, you can actually see that rapid fire. And that's kind of cool that this recoil is very quick. And out of the box it works absolutely good. I love that where the recoil is different than all the other games, particularly when it comes to, let's say, the older games that we tried. But out of the box, yeah, PlayStation 2 emulation. If you're going to be combining this with a PC, always take consideration you need to have like a powerful PC. I tested out all kinds of mini PCs nowadays where we can actually play PlayStation 2 emulation. But if you're going to be doing a little bit of an upscaling, then we're going to be needing a powerful GPU. I think the PC I'm using over here has the RTX 3050 in the inside. But if you want to navigate, I think this is super easy. Always need to be very careful because the joystick on the Reaper is very sensitive. Going into menu, you can do it fairly easily like that. You can go back with this button. Another thing I noticed, if you're going to be pressing the joystick left, it also exits the menu. So whereas you can actually navigate fairly easy through the emulators. But let's try a couple of more. It's interesting that not every single game has a cursor, so there's no cheating. The pressing start is different from each other game, but this is actually mapped to this button over here. Okay, so let's go. You have the most wicked games in here. So when the game automatically starts, you will see that the recall starts activate through the emulator. I think that's one of the coolest things where he spent a lot of time in. But PlayStation 1 with some Point Blank 2. Okay. Oh crap, I need to use the red, I need to have the red one. Ah! Let's go full Terminator mode with the Techno Parrot. And I can tell you that this is absolutely awesome. So what he actually did with this, so when you're going to be playing, you can see the recoil goes crazy. It also has some indications over here on the LEDs when something is happening. If you're going to be reloading, it also gives you a feedback so you know it's going to be reloaded. But let's say in the part, if you're getting the minigun, the recoil is going to be even more aggressive. So let's see if we can get the minigun on this part over here. And there we go. You know, that's absolutely nuts. This game is super chaotic, but graphical wise, beautiful. So I had like these crazy, let's say, mounted alien guns. I'm not missing them at all because the radio shooter is such a fun experience when it comes to the feedback itself, and in combination with the MAME hooker where they understand of. You're going to be playing it together with a friend. This is just such a very fun thing to play. But getting into a different game, where we normally had the minigun, now this is automatically going to be the force feedback with this particular game. And like I mentioned before, I am not really missing out on the massive Alien Guns arcade machine, because this is absolutely a lot of fun. Oh yeah, Confidential Mission. That's one of those games I always love to try out. I think it was on the Pandora 10 or the Retro Shooter first generation of, let's say, boxes. We could actually play this in just native resolution, but this is such a funny game. There's no cursor, so you really need to aim. And what I always find very pleasant is that these retro shooters are quite, let's say, accurate. We do have some weird things going on, but I think that has to do with the widescreen hack they're implementing. But so far I understand these games were not made for 16:9, or at least what I understand of. And the reloading is so easy. With a simple reason, you can just press the button at the side. Yeah, you then map it to the reload at the bottom. I really don't care about that, but yeah, so everything works out of the box very well. And I think what's also a very cool gimmick, if you're empty, all the LEDs show red and we can reload. It's kind of cool. Ninja Assault. Okay, so the feedback is ready. Let's see where he mapped it. Oh, he needs shoot out of screen. Oh, so that is really still implemented. Oh, this game is nasty. You need to actually shoot the guys a couple of times. Okay. So if you're getting the hang of it, it works quite nice. So this is absolutely a game you should check out, The Maze of the King. I actually played it, I think some time ago when I was visiting some arcade machine. And what is so cool, you can see like have all kinds of different variations you can actually start your games with. Having some perks you can implement, like a bracelet giving you certain powers. You know, it's kind of cool, and it's like a maze actually where you're going to be playing through. And it is where you can just find your own way, your path. But this game is kind of cool. It's one of those games, similar to Time Crisis idea, but still slightly different with a different touch. For the time era, it was kind of interesting. Here you can see the next arena, 002. Let's see, I need to reload. I can just use the button at the side over here. Oh, wait. So let's continue playing a little bit more with this game. It's really fun. Another classic one, House of the Dead, of course. Let's see how we map this. Okay, still same button. So, you know, where you sometimes have those, let's say, shotguns in a game, particularly I feel like in a game that is based with a shotgun. I think it was House of the Dead 3. Man, I really want to have a retro shooter make a freaking shotgun. But yeah, the question remains, how many games can you actually use it for? Because this is such a very cool light gun. Of course, if you're going to be using this with the image of Kriss Cool Mod and main hooker, everything has been set up. Everything will automatically adjust it when it comes to the recoil. So next up, let's move to the Dreamcast. We have been just trying out the Naomi system, but let's see how it goes with the Dreamcast emulator. You can see actually the cursor is moving now. So with this particular emulator, I had been set to having a cursor, so we cannot cheat. Interesting. We don't have the widescreen hack enabled, or it does. Oh, it does. Okay, so just wanted to see how it actually looks on here. Let's see what button I'm going to be needing to press. Okay, also. So if you want to play with cursor, we can actually do that fairly easy this way. Both of the controllers are mapped, if I'm saying it correctly. There we go. I don't know what you think of it, but this widescreen hack is kind of weird, you know, it's kind of ruining the fun when it comes to that. I rather have like a 4x3 because this weird, let's say, glitching going on. I don't like it, you know. No, when it comes to that, I don't really like it at all. There we go. Pressing start is what button? That was a little bit of a gap. Oh, there we go. Let's start with the game itself. Let's see if everything is mapped correctly. What I love about this is there are so many mini games, like absolutely insane. All of these mini games similar to the point blank. Okay, we need to shoot the red ones over there. Okay. So let's get into the Atomic Wave. Okay, but what the heck? My cursor is off here. My cursor here, but they're shooting there. What the heck? That is something you should fix. That is not great. Let's get into the MAME of Time Crisis. What I love about it is that we do have the button mapped to the docking mode, so that's absolutely great. The only thing I find kind of interesting, and I'm going to be asking him, is like, why aren't they having on MAME some feedback? So let's move later on to a different system. Man, I love this MAME version of Time Crisis. This looks so much better than the PlayStation 1 version. But if you think you've seen it all, we're having Fruit Ninja HD with a light gun. That is something I've never played, so let's try that. Oh, I must say that it is working quite accurate when it comes to that. There we go. Oh, there's a nasty one. You know, that is just wicked, you know. And some part of me hates it and some part of me really likes it. But the list itself is absolutely massive. Arcade Gunner, I just wanted to showcase what's actually on here. This is such a weird thing. So if you're going to be looking into the list, you can see this thing is filled with all kinds of wicked cool things. There's Plants vs Zombies, The Last Stand. Okay, Point Rescue, Point Blank X. And there were so many interesting titles that I feel really intrigued to actually try out. This game called Reload. Okay, this is interesting. So in this part, I think we need to use the keyboard. Okay, reload is also at the bottom of the side over there. Okay, it also shows how we need to press the F button again. But unfortunate, there will be no Plants vs Zombies The Last Stand because this freaking thing doesn't boot up. So yep, it's going to be the moment of Kriss calling and asking Kriss, something doesn't work, can you fix it? Because I think that is one of the convenient things. If something doesn't work, there's always a way to fix it. We also have a lot of classic games like the Jurassic Park, the older version, and this looks so weird. I think this is even from 1997 or something. I love that they mapped the button to the reload, make it so much more convenient to play. So let's see how the Time Crisis 3 game actually works. I was a little bit too close to the screen itself. But emulation performance on this PC, I don't see any problems. With a simple reason, because this thing is more than powerful enough. I do wonder what kind of rendering resolution he's using on this. I think it's absolutely cool to have these games on high resolution. And also the recoil reacts completely different. So Time Crisis 1 I've played so much. But the conclusion is quite simple. If you're going to be combining the Reapers with a PC and the right image, you're going to be having so much fun with so many different games to play. And yeah, you can set it up yourself if you want to. You can use Windows and maybe even some Battlezero in the future. But if you're getting something like this, it will save you so much time, because some emulators are absolutely a massive hassle to connect to. So if you're getting a kit with a hard drive and the right PC, it is a very massive amount of money you need to invest. But if you're having everything, it's going to be absolutely blast to the past with a lot of cool games, including Techno Parrot. Thank you all for watching, and it will be great to see you in the next video.